You sit down to study. You spend hours reading, highlighting, making notes. And by the end of it, you feel productive, like you actually did something. But then the next day, you open your book again, and it's like you're seeing everything for the first time. You recognize it, but you can't explain it. You can't recall it clearly. You just know you've seen it before. So naturally, you assume, maybe I didn't focus enough. Maybe I need to study longer. Maybe I'm just not consistent enough. But here's the part no one really talks about. What if the problem isn't how much you study, but what your brain is actually doing while you study? Because most people aren't struggling with discipline. They're repeating a method that feels productive, but doesn't actually make anything stick. Most people think studying looks like this: reading, highlighting, rewriting notes, watching lectures again. It feels productive, but here's what's actually happening. You're recognizing information, not remembering it. There's a difference. When you reread a page and think, yeah, I know this, that's not memory, that's familiarity. Your brain is basically saying, I've seen this before, not I can recall this on my own. And exams don't test recognition. They test recall. Your brain is efficient, almost lazy. It avoids effort unless necessary. And passive studying methods, like rereading or highlighting, require almost no effort. So your brain stays comfortable. But memory doesn't work through comfort. It works through struggle, not extreme struggle, just enough to force retrieval. That small moment where you pause and think, wait, what was that again? That's where learning actually happens. If you want to remember what you study, you need to switch from input mode right arrow output mode. Right now, you're mostly inputting, reading, watching, listening, but real learning happens when you pull information out of your brain, not put more in. So instead of asking, did I read this? You start asking, can I explain this without looking? That one shift changes everything. You don't need 10 techniques. You need 2 or 3 that actually work. 1, the blurting method. Read a topic once, close everything, then write down everything you remember. Messy, incomplete, doesn't matter. Now compare with your notes. The gap you see, that's exactly what you need to focus on. 2, teach it like you understand it. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it. Pretend you're teaching a friend. Out loud, not in your head. This forces clarity. Explain this technique more. 3, micro testing. After every small topic, pause and ask, what were the 3 main points? If you can't answer, don't move on. Because moving forward, without understanding, is how people study for hours and remember nothing. Identity shift. People who are good at studying aren't smarter. They just do one thing differently. They don't trust passive learning. They expect struggle. They expect that slight discomfort of not remembering instantly. And instead of avoiding it, they lean into it. So if studying feels harder after this, you're not doing worse. You're finally doing it right. You don't need to study more hours. You don't need better motivation. You need a better system. Because right now, you're putting in effort, but not getting results. And that's the most frustrating place to be. Fix the way you study, and suddenly, the same time, starts working for you.